It's a beautiful sunny day here in June, so we are in winter time, and I am going to be harvesting some herbs from my garden so that I can make some herb marinated chops with some honey and mustard. So watch me harvest. I've got some beautiful thyme, rosemary and some tarragon that I'm going to be using with some garlic. I'm cooking marinated lamb chops, and they're with a twist because we're doing them in the fire. Well, not in the fire, but in the fire oven. So the fire oven is what powers or heats our spa or our hot tub, and we're going to be having one tonight. So we thought, why not maximize the fire and put some lamb chops in there with a really nice marinade. So my marinade consists of some herbs that I've picked from my garden. I've got some thyme, so just normal garden thyme. I've got some rosemary and I've got some tarragon. So you can use a variety of different herbs in your marinade. Some people like to put a bit of mint in there. Some people like to put a bit of sage. It just depends on what your palate is wanting. So I had these ready to go and I thought that would be really, really good. These are my lamb chops here that I'm going to marinate. I'm doing 3 kilos. So 3 kilos sounds like a lot, but these are individual chops with the bone in, and I have hungry boys who are 19, 17 and 11, and so they will eat 3 to 4 of these each. So in a kilo it comes with about 6 chops, so that means that, you know, there's 6 of us, so if we have 3 packs of those we get approximately 3 chops each. I will have 2, my daughter will have 2, the boys will have probably 4. So the math does math, it does work, but it does sound like a lot on paper. So chops are a big treat for us because they are a little bit expensive, but we got them for 20 bucks a kilo because they are in season at the moment, and they're local chops. So they're local to our area and very big, beautiful, healthy looking meat. So I'm just gonna pop them to the side for a sec and I'm gonna show you what I'm popping in the marinade. So these are my harvested herbs. So I have quite a lot here. I've got quite a bit of thyme. I've got a few sprigs in there, and I've got quite a lot of tarragon. At the intro of the video, you would have seen me harvesting these and cutting them into the bowl. I've got the majority of these herbs is rosemary because rosemary is really, really good with lamb, and it gives it a really, really good profile. I have 2 small lemons that I got off my tree, and they are going to go freshly squeezed into the mix. I don't need much lemon. I don't want it too acidic. I want it to just have that balance with the honey because we are putting honey in. So I have some honey. I'm going to be doing about half a cup of honey in the mix. I have some whole grain mustard. So whole grain mustard gives it that pop over the marinade. When they cook, you get that pop of the mustard seeds, and it's got a really kind of tangy mustard flavor. And I'm putting also in some mild American mustard just to soften it a little bit. And I will be putting in some olive oil. So olive oil will give it that kind of lovely flavor. So olive oil will just be drizzled through the marinade to give it that kind of richness, and some salt and some pepper. So that is our herb honey mustard marinade. So I'm just going to, I've got, oh, and garlic. Hello, garlic. So garlic I'm going to do, I need a couple of cloves for my potato bake, but I'm just going to crush them all together. So I'll crush the garlic, I'll scoop a little bit out, and then I'll keep adding to the marinade. So I only need like 1 and a bit cloves for the potato bake. These are going in the marinade. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cloves of garlic. So if a recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic, I'm putting 3 in, basically. So we really like our food garlicky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the Thermomix jug here and mix my recipe up together in the jug so you can see over the jug. And then we'll go over later and mix it up. So I'll just grab the jug, bring it over. We're not going to Thermomix, we're going back to the bench. Yep. And so you can see my silver bowl here. I'm going to chuck all my garlic in. Now I'm just going to quickly go and whiz the garlic so I can scoop some out, and I will just come back. Just give me 1 sec to do that. Okay, so that beeping was my potatoes. My potatoes have been parboiling, and they're going to go in our marinade. So the potatoes are whole, and I've got about 1.5 kilos that I'm putting through my potato bake tonight. So the potato bake, I'll show you how to do that as well, but I just need those to cool a little bit. So I'm just going to take the lid off that, and then those potatoes are just going to steam, get the steam off them so I can actually work with them. All right, so just over to Thermomix. I'm just going to... All right, so we've blitzed our garlic, and I'm just going to keep some aside for our potato bake. Okay, so we're going to add our salt, so just a sprinkle. So when I say sprinkle, it's probably about a teaspoon, I would say. So that's sitting in the bowl. All right, and then of course we need, you can't have salt without a bit of pepper, so freshly ground black pepper. I don't know what that was, that's okay. All right, just about another teaspoon. We like our pepper in this house, and pepper and lamb are just a match made in heaven. All right, and so now we're going to start blending in our sauces. So we're going to add in this will all get blended together. I'm going to add in, our herbs. So we're going to start, I don't actually, when they come fresh from my garden, I'm actually picking them from the top. There's no crap on them, they're all clean. I don't wash them, they're fine. There's no chemical sprays on my garden, it's all organic. So I don't have any need to wash any residues off them. There's no dirt on them, I'm not picking them from the roots. They're actually perfectly fine. So I'm just going to do that and pop them in. And so you get all of the nutrients and the flavours out when you are able to just use them fresh. That's our tarragon going in. So tarragon is a really bushy, fragrant, it's almost got a slight aniseedy taste smell to it. It's got a woody type scent, but it's almost like a mild, it's lovely. I can't describe it. You have to try it for yourself. So tarragon's found in a lot of French food. It is a French herb, but I love it paired with rosemary and thyme. It's a lovely balance. More thyme, more rosemary, always more rosemary. And the rest of these herbs will be going just through my potato bake. I'll just be putting some sprigs in there and then taking them out. All right, so rosemary and lamb are like match made in heaven, and we have 3 kilos of chops to flavour, so we need a lot. So I'm just peeling the leaves off the stems. That's all I'm doing. And so we don't mind if our marinade's a bit chunky with the herb in there, because it will infuse the flavour very well. Okay, a little bit more thyme as well. Love thyme, it's just so fresh. And thyme in herbal medicine is an antiseptic. It's an antibiotic. It's really good as an antifungal. So we use it a lot in protocols for killing off bacteria. Really, really good for antifungal protocols. It has a wide range of uses. Really good for respiratory infections as well. So thyme is a great herb for respiratory illness. So if you've got a cold at the moment, cooking with thyme or using thyme can actually help. Okay, so that is our herb profile. So it's looking really green in there. It's beautiful. So you can see all those colours there with that garlic and that salt and that pepper. All right, so now I'm going to do my honey. So I'm just going to drizzle my honey in there. So again, it's quite a lot. So if you're measuring, I would say half a metric cup of honey is what you're going to need. So you want the kind of stickiness of the honey over your chops, but you don't want it to be so sweet that it ruins the flavour of the marinade. But you want that little bit of sweetness that the honey will bring. Nearly there. Okay. So it kind of just coats the top of the herbs. All right, so that's about half a cup of honey drizzled over the herbs. You can see that glisten there. Okay, so mustard, the American mustard, I'm just going to be adding about 2 tablespoons of this one, because I want to use more of the whole grain. So 1 and then 2 Oh, not a fan of these bottles, but they are what they are. Okay. All right, and then we're going to add in our squeeze of our lemon. So there's little lemons that we've put off our little tree. Our tree's still growing, but if you get that, you're getting about probably, in total, you'll get about 4 teaspoons of lemon. Squeezing them through my hands. This gets the lemon pips out. And we're getting that lovely acidic kind of lemony, citrusy flavour through the honey, so it cuts through the sweetness and you're getting your balance of flavours. And this will help also to penetrate the flavour of the herbs, and it will bring out the flavour of the garlic, which is so good. All right, so we got the basics, and it kind of cleans your hands as well. We've got the basics down pat. Now we need to add our olive oil. So olive oil, we want to do about the same as honey. So we're doing about half a cup of olive oil in there. All right. And then I'll add my mustard at the end, my whole grain. This already smells amazing, and I haven't even blended it yet. All right. It's a nice drizzling bottle. Takes a little while to get half a cup in there. And yes, I'm not measuring, sorry. But pretty much know the ratios by looking at the ingredients. All right. So half a cup of olive oil, half a cup of honey, 2 tablespoons American mustard, 4 halves of small lemons, so 2 small lemons squeezed in with our herbs and our garlic and our salt and our pepper. All right, so now we're going to add our whole grain in. Don't know where my whole grain went. That is really strange. I cannot, oh, there it is. Found it. All right, so this is the whole grain mustard. So it is literally just the Mailey brand of whole grain. All right, so this one, we are doing 1, 2, 3.5 tablespoons. So that is quite mustardy, but I like, with the lamb, mustard and lamb or any red meat is a match made in heaven. All right, so I'm going to take this mixture so you can see it all kind of sitting there together. And I'm going to take that over to the Thermomix bowl, and we're going to blend that into a bit of a paste. All right, so I'm going to take that over. And we're going to find a lid. And we're at the Thermomix, and we're going to just blend that. Step out of the way and move that back a bit. Okay, is that okay? Can you see that? Okay. All right, so I'm just going to turn that on to speed 5. And that's just going to blend our paste together. And we're doing that for about 30 seconds or so. It'll be good. All right, so it's been about 30 seconds, so I'm just going to check what it looks like. We might need to do it a bit longer. I always just like to play it by ear and have a look and see. Oh, that looks perfect. My goodness, that looks good. Look at that. So that is a beautiful, rich, colourful marinade. Oh, it smells divine. Absolutely divine. Yum, yum, yum. Now we're going to be scraping a bit of honey because we've had some cold ingredients. We are going to be scraping a bit of honey from the bottom with our spatula. That's okay. So I will be putting gloves on in a second to be marinating and getting this through my chops. So what I'm going to do is season my chops first. So to season my chops, I need to add a fair bit of salt. You never want to have food that is, especially meat when you're cooking with it, that is unseasoned. So I'm going to be adding Himalayan salt. So I'm going to be adding crystallized Himalayan salt to my chops. I'm just going to be sprinkling it over. That will get through the chops as we go. but thick Himalayan kind of semi-coarse salt there. So I've done about 1.5 tablespoons of salt. You can see it crystallized on top there. It's going to give it that nice kind of salty balance with the marinade. You can see the color of that sauce, it's so good. All right, and now I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. So black pepper always adds a bit of that hint of spice, just seasons it, gives it that lovely texture and flavor. And black pepper as a herbal medicine helps absorption. So it has something called piperine in it, and it actually helps you to absorb other things. So it is like a catalyst for the goodness that you're getting from your food. So really good with meat, because if you want to get your B12, your iron, your zinc, you're going to get it through the pepper, helping you absorb that. All right, so now we're just going to start pouring our marinade over the top of our meat. So I've just got a big bowl here, because I'm going to have this sitting for a few hours. You can have this in your fridge, and then this will go in the fire tonight, which will be exciting. I love this kind of food. It's always a bit fun on the weekend to have a bit of elaboration, a bit of gourmet. That green of those herbs is coming through. That's, oh, lovely. It's going to be so good. And I can smell the sweetness of the honey, but I can smell the beautiful mustard tang. It's going to be lovely. And the herbs are really prominent with the garlic. This is one of the best kind of marinades to go with lamb. You can put this over a leg of lamb too. You could cut a leg of lamb, like have a whole leg of lamb, and you could cut indents into it, and you can cover it with this beautiful marinade. But when it's cooked in the fire, this is going to cook. The fat's going to cook and become nice and gelatinous, and it's actually really good for you. So this is animal fat. This is what we should be eating. So this is something that should be part of a healthy diet, and I think it's actually necessary to keep it on. You're not all going to eat that whole rim of fat when you eat into your chop, but you will eat the tail. You've got to eat the tail. So the tail has the meaty bit. See all that meat there? But you're not going to eat all of that rim. Well, I'm not. I'm going to eat the meat in the middle. But yeah, no, it's just to hold the flavour into, and it keeps the kind of juiciness in the beef, lamb, not beef. Had a late night last night doing some volunteer work for my local Girl Guides. They had a disco, so finished a little bit later than normal, and yeah, I was a little bit tired after a work week, but that's okay. All right, so pop that through, and as you can see, we have now coated them all really, really well. I'm really happy with that. So that's going to get covered, and they're going to go in the fridge for, what time is it? We're 12:30, so that'll be about 4 hours.
So this is the fire that Mindy was talking about. You can see the tops where the wood's burning, and that's the bottom, that's the baker's oven, which will be very, very hot. So one tray of chops. And there we are. 2 trays of chops. I'm hoping that foil isn't off, because they'll just cinder. So it's pretty hot. So that's the little baker's oven, and then you see on top, this is an old still, and it is circulating water that the heat's collected inside this flue here. You can kind of see a bit of it down there, that copper tube. So we have a pump that runs water up into here, and it goes all the way up to there, and then there's a hole that goes through the actual flue and winds all the way down the inside. So there's 25 meters of copper down there, and it flows into this, which then flows into that, which I don't know if you can see the steam, but it's hot, very hot, boiling water.
Okay, so now we are making a potato bake. It's a very classic, easy, indulgent really delicious side dish that you can make with any meat or any kind of barbecue or anything that you're cooking. It is a bit indulgent, so it's a sometimes food. It's not something we have all the time. But tonight we're having our marinated lamb chops that I did show in another video. So if you haven't seen that one, check it out. Marinated lamb chops in the fire. So this potato bake is something that gets requested by my kids and my family members every Christmas. So I do this as a Christmas food as well. It's so easy. It's got all the hallmarks of a really good dish. It's got bacon in it. So I'm frying up some bacon here. Bacon is okay. Bacon's not a bad guy to me. When you have bacon in your diet, it's not a terrible thing. Pork, meat, it's actually okay to have. I think bacon it's got good fat in it. It's animal fats, as long as it's not full of nitrates and all of those kind of things. Just a simple cured bacon is actually fine. People have been eating cured meats for a long, long time. So obviously, like everything, not every single day, but something, as part of a balanced diet, I don't see it being a problem, especially if your microbiome's good, your gut's good, you're healthy in general, no problem. All right, so to the bottom of a Pyrex dish, I'm drizzling some olive oil. So I've just drizzled some of the olive oil there at the bottom, and now I am going to be chopping my potatoes. I'm just going to turn that pan off because the bacon doesn't have to be perfectly crispy like you're going to be eating it on your plate. It just needs to be cooked, essentially. All right, so I have parboiled some whole potatoes. I've got a combination of red potatoes and white potatoes. They have been washed and they've been cooked for about 25 minutes, steamed for about 25 minutes, not meters, minutes. I'll get it right. All right, so that lets me kind of slice the potato without it being, really, really hard. And it also means that it'll be cooked all the way through when I pop it through my bake, because potatoes, they can still be raw when you're doing a bake. They are a bit slippery though. All right, so as I'm doing that, I'm just going to layer my potatoes through my pan, through my Pyrex. So this is kind of like a lasagna dish size. They're from IKEA. They're about, I think they're 2.8 litre. So they're really good because they come with clip-on lids that you can freeze and you can store, and they go straight in the oven. So I actually got a collection of these a few years ago and I use them all the time. I love them. They're great dishes. So if you don't have Pyrex kind of dishes at home, you can use a ceramic pie dish, or you can even use just a metal baking tray with some baking paper in it. It doesn't really matter. But this is I just find it easy because if there's leftovers, we can clip the lid on and it can all go in the fridge. All right. So we're doing kind of like layers. Potatoes are a bit tedious to chop, but lost some. This knife is very sticky. I do need to review my knife collection. Very hard to find good knives. Okay. Pop them in there. These ones, the white ones, are a little bit more waxy than the red ones. Red ones are a bit more smooth. So red ones are really good in salads and things like that. Waxy white ones are often the Sebago type, or used a lot in your kind of mashes and things like that, or roasting. The red ones roast pretty well too. Good kind of all-rounder potatoes. But yes, potatoes are kind of whatever's on special at the end of the day. All right, so each layer of the potatoes is going to have a layer of a little bit of bacon and some salt and a little bit of cream, so an onion. So I just use raw onion in my layers. I'm just going to get all my chopping done so then we can just do our layers as we need to. So potato bake is one of those classic kind of, it's based on a French dish, the scallop potatoes, where you have the scalloped potatoes and the cream and creme fraiche a lot of the time, and some tarragon and things like that. We are going to be including a few herbs in the potato bake. I love the leftover herbs from our marinade are going to go in there, so that'll be good, just to give it a bit of a freshness. All right, these are quite waxy, so I'm just holding on to them, because if I let go of them, what will happen is they will go into my sink like they did before. so we're just getting like scalloped kind of sizes. Don't have to be fancy or perfect. I'm not worried about that. I just want kind of the slices so that it's easier to assemble. And yeah, this will be eaten up by my kids. They love this. And I leave the skins on because the skins, the potatoes, have a lot of nutrients in them. They have antioxidants in them, and you know, all your minerals like your potassium, magnesium, manganese, so micro minerals that we need. Potatoes contain a little bit of selenium. They're really good sources of those micro minerals. And potatoes are an indulgent food. You know, they're like a really classic, yummy food that you think of when you want to have something a little bit starchy, a little bit indulgent. They can be a bit addictive too, but when they're made in home cooking, I just think they're the best. And accompanying some greens, like we'll probably have maybe some beans with this tonight. It gives you that balance, and all the green herbs as well. I mean, in summertime you can do it with a salad. You do some spinach, or you could do even some ratatouille or something. But yeah, we're definitely going to be having a green balance on the plate tonight too. And because the chops are quite rich, you don't need much of this. It just gives it a bit of a creamy kind of texture because the marinade's a bit tangy. So the potatoes give it a bit of a creamy texture, which is good. All right, we're nearly there. Boring bits of cooking, always. All right. Okay, pop that over there. And one more potato to go. Start chucking those back in there. So I'm just moving those so that when I get my bacon out, I can chop that up too. So I only roughly ever chop up my bacon. I never do it perfectly either because you just kind of want chunky bits of flavour through your bake. And it's so easy to make, which is great. All right, chuck that all the way through. All right, whoa, whoa, hot potato. It's not that hot, it's okay. And I'm not very good at temperature because I can handle very hot food. And my family thinks I don't have any sensation in my fingers because I've been cooking for a long, long time. So the potatoes would be hot to my husband. He'd probably need to wear gloves. Okay. All right. Just gonna wash my hands and then we're going to work on our assembly line. So that will mean adding in, it's kind of like a potato-ish, lasagna-ish thing. But yes, all right, so we need to have another little drizzle of olive oil on top, just a very small one. So I'm literally like it'll be half a teaspoon. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt. So Himalayan salt just gets sprinkled on top. And so every time I'm doing this, it's literally just a smidge. So nothing major, we're not adding in heaps of salt. And then I'm going to just sprinkle some fresh herbs from the garden. So I've got a bit of rosemary. I'm just sprinkling some leaves in between, and I'm going to get a bit of thyme and just sprinkle that in. You see that green kind of colour coming through, and sprinkle. And I don't have any tarragon left, but that's okay. I'll put that all through the chops. But we got rosemary and thyme today, guys, and of course, fresh garlic. So this is a clove that there are about 2 cloves that I chopped up before and put in the chop marinade, but I've just done that on top of the potatoes. All right, so now some onion. So fresh onion that's been chopped into rings. I always chuck that in like this because it will bake through and it will soften as it bakes into the potato. And trust me, it looks weird, but when you bake onion into a dish, so I'm just going to close that door, you have heaps of flavour. Sorry, my son's playing a game and he's screaming. Yes, it sounds like he's being tortured. He's not. He's playing with his friends. They're happy noises. They don't sound very happy though. All right. And then we're going to get some of our cooked bacon. And again, it's just been cooking in the pan. If you struggle with handling hot food, maybe be a bit careful here. I'm not the best gauger of that. I used to always have to get my husband to check the bath with the kids because I couldn't tell if it was hot enough or cold enough. I'd always, at risk of scolding my children, not deliberately, but because I couldn't tell the temperature. And I kind of would always go a lot cooler than what I thought was appropriate. Okay, so the bacon is quite lean. There's not much fat on it. It's been diced just like that. And that just gets sprinkled on top as well. It's pretty easy. There's no rocket science to this one. All right, a little corner where a potato's missing, chuck that in. All right, so now I'm just gonna add some cream. So cream, we're using just normal thickened cream. I'm literally going to be using, this is a 600 ml bottle. I'm literally going to be using probably about 100 mils through the whole potato bake. So it's not as much as you think. So now I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of this across there, just to give it a creamy texture. So each layer will have its own texture, but now we're going to just keep going with the potatoes. So potatoes on top, gives it lots of flavour doing it this way, and you get the flavour through the potato. So if you're just kind of chucking it all together, that's fine too. But I just like the idea that my potatoes are getting, each bite I have has a bit of everything. I'm not missing anything. It's all got taste. That's why I like to do it this way. And it kind of just disperses all of those flavours through the bake. All right, so it's another layer of potato, and then we're going to chuck our salt down. So we just keep going like this until we get to the end, and it's not that hard. Some more herb in there. So rosemary gives it a really kind of fresh, earthy, I love rosemary. Oh, so beautiful. The joy of cooking with fresh herbs is that you get to smell the taste, like almost the taste of them. And so you know how your end product is going to be. Right, so rosemary and a little bit of thyme in there, just a little bit, just to give it some fragrance. They work so well together. You can put sage, you can put anything you like. And then we're going to do our onion. Again, some onion. An onion fresh like this, it just lifts the dish so well. So yum. All right, all the way through. Big chunks of onion. You don't want it to condense like that. You want to break your rings apart. That is going to bake through. All right, more bacon. Chop up some more bacon. All right. And as I said, this hasn't been made like it's going to be on my plate. It's just been cooked through. So the bacon is cooked, but it's not like a crispy. You can make it crispy if you want, but it will crisp up even more through your dish. So remember how much flavour, the smokiness of the bacon, the onion and garlic, all the way through, garlic, is going to give it that lovely kind of balance that you're looking for when it comes to a potato bake. All right, garlic just went on, and now we're going to drizzle our cream. Okay, again, just a drizzle. So that will be enough to kind of lubricate the starch in the potato so that it kind of sticks together a little better. All right, and then we're ready for our next layer. So this will be our last layer that goes on with our potatoes. So we want this one to be kind of our thickest potato layer, because this is going to be kind of where the top goes. So this one quite thick, and then we've just got one more in the top with the cheese, but that's quite thick, and then we've just got one more potato section to go. But that's our last one before we put the cheese on. All right, so now our salt again. Everything's always seasoned, always tastes so much better. A little bit of olive oil just to keep them nice and moist. And then we're going to add, who likes that word moist? Moist, moist. Bit of a controversial one, isn't it? Okay, onion. I'm not doing this in any particular order. I've just got some bacon in there. Okay, onion, onion, onion. All right. Now, if you don't like onion, you can leave it out. It's fine. You can just have your bacon, herbs, and your garlic. You don't even have to have garlic. But I would heavily disagree with you on that flavor profile because we love onion. All right, and now herbs, more herbs, lots and lots of herbs. You've got to have that flavor. Got to have flavor. Okay. Yum-o. So this is just going to be so delicious. And I know my kids will be so happy when I tell them that I've made potato bake. Some of them don't know yet. Some of them do. They've come in and saw the ingredients and they kind of guessed, which is always exciting for them. Very excited to have chops too. It's kind of like more fancy than we used to have it. Right, last bits of bacon. So for the bacon, I've probably used about 200 grams out of a kilo packet. So it goes a long way when you're dicing bacon like this. Okay, more of that. Okay. Sorry. All right, gonna sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Okay. Whoop. There goes a knife. Be careful with knives. Don't do what I just did. All right, so now we're going to do our cream, last bit of our cream, top, and then we do one more layer of potato. So that was about 100 mils of cream all up. We're not over going crazy with the cream. All right, so now our top layer of potato. This is just going to be where the cheese will stick to the bake. You won't have too much crispiness on there for the bacon going too hard, because you're going to cover it with potato. And that is quite a large potato bake. So this is, it's quite large. It's going to feed a crowd. So really good for events, like if you're taking it to a barbecue or any of those kind of things. It is one of those dishes that everybody will love. If you're making it for vegetarians, you can leave the bacon out and you can add, you know, some spinach, frozen spinach, or some spinach to it. So it's very versatile, which is always a good thing. Okay, so then just a little bit more salt. Overall, through this whole bake, I've probably used about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Looks like I'm using a lot, but I'm actually not. They're small little pinches, and as long as you're dispersing them over the potatoes, it's not what you think it is. And salt, Himalayan salt, is really good anyway. All right, drizzle of olive oil on top of that. So just like that. You can see that colour going on the potatoes. Okay, and then we do the cheese. All right, and so you need cheese on top, not all the way through your bake. You don't want to ruin it with too much cheese. I don't know, you're probably thinking you can never ruin anything with cheese. You can. Cheese is like amazing. I love cheese, but you can overdo it as well. And I'm not into those really horrible over cheesy bake things. Ugh. Okay. That's perfect. We've covered everything there. And so you've seen my potato bake at the start, because that's how we do things here. We go spoilers and then you get to see it at the beginning. So there's no wait till the end to see what this comes out like. It's like we like to shake things up and show you at the start of our videos. All right, so that is my classic, really well loved, famous potato bake that anyone can do at home. It's really not that hard, but really, really popular and really, really indulgent. So if you've got a weekend off, if you really just want to enjoy and have something creamy and carby, get onto your potato bake. Beautiful. All right, thanks for watching.